What are we doing here? Maybe they're throwing us a retirement party. That suits me, I just bought a boat. Well, this had better be good. I'm supposed to be chairing a seminar at the academy. Thinking, isn't this just for top brass? If we're all here, we're Sulu, Captain Sulu, on assignment. We're Spock. Kimtar, is everybody here? And the Vice President is in Vietnam. The Secretary of Defense is in Laos. And Secretary of State is in Mexico City. We can establish contact with him at any time. The Undersecretaries are here, of course. Right. Respond. This briefing is classified. Ladies and gentlemen, the CNC. As you were. To break this information down succinctly, the Wizarding World has roughly 50 years of life left to it. For full details, I'm turning this briefing over to the Federation's Special Envoy, to the Waltz Alliance's Special Envoy. This was recorded shortly after the bombing. This is the Children of Darkness. We claim responsibility for infecting Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. We have a message for so-called perfect autism. The Eastern Indiana city bombing would have indicated Eastern Illinois city bombing would have indicated the strength of our resolve. We are in control of the Wizarding World. We are in control of Hogsmeade and Ducktown. Those two wizarding towns and its inhabitants shall remain in our custody until Draco Malfoy, criminally held against his will by ambient disease, is released from captivity. Our instructions are to be followed precisely. No theater, no negotiation. Draco Malfoy will be released and taken to Gatwick Airport, where a private jet will be given clearance to land, then allowed to leave with him and his father. Upon the release of Draco, Flight 343 will continue on to Washington, where half the town, the Children of Darkness, will continue on the road to Hogwarts, where half the two towns' inhabitants will be exchanged for fuel, a plane, and 50 million in gold bullion. Draco Malfoy and Lucius Malfoy must be in contact with us by 6 a.m. Greenwich, or the citizens of Eastern Illinois and Western Indiana will suffer another punishment on your behalf that will make today's bombing pale in comparison. Nathan Wallace. This man, Altar, who is he? Voice message that is one of the 7 million, part of the Children of Darkness group, who are what Civil War with. I can explain as much, but yes. Now, Main Squad Clone Commander, what's going on here? Greetings, sir. About 35 minutes ago, Kit Mansley, special psychological investigator of astrophenomena, and Andrea, co-chair of Oxymoron Incorporated, issued an order to the 102 B-52s of 3 wings, which were airborne at the time, as part of a special exercise they were holding called Operation Pink Kick. Now, it appears that the order called for the squadron wings to attack their targets inside Germany and Southeast Asia in order to get to the Wizarding World. The planes are fully armed with nuclear weapons with an average load of 40 megatons each. Now the central display of Germany and Southeast Asia will indicate the position of the planes. The triangles are their primary targets. The squares are their secondary targets. The aircraft will begin penetrating German and Southeast Asian radar cover within the next 45 minutes. Named Squad Clone Commander, I find this very difficult to understand. The President? And in any other leader, was the only one in authority to authorize the use of nuclear weapons. That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so. And although I hate to judge before all the facts are in, it's looking like Kent Mansley and Andrea Voxymoron has exceeded their authorities, sir. Certainly does. Far beyond the point I would have imagined possible. You must be forgetting the provisions of Plan R, sir. Plan R? Plan R is an emergency war plan in which a lower echelon commander may order nuclear retaliation after a sneak attack, if proper chain of command has been disrupted. You approve it, sir, you must remember. They'd approve it, sir, you must remember. Certainly years ago, at the end of your previous school year, when one of the assistants of Miss Ellis, Senator Buford, made that big hassle about our deterrent lacking credibility, the idea was for Plan R to be sort of a retaliatory safeguard. A safeguard. And the human element seemed to have failed us here. But the idea was to discourage the Chinese or the Russians from any hope that they can knock out Washington or yourself, sir. Well, I assume then the Mortville planes will return automatically once they reach their failsafe points. Well, yes, I'm afraid not. You see, the planes were holding at their failsafe points when the go code was received. Now, once they fly beyond failsafe, they do not acquire a second order to proceed. They will continue until they reach their targets. Then why haven't you radioed the planes countermanding the go code? Well, Nathan, sir, I'm afraid we are unable to communicate with any of the aircraft. Why so? As you may recall, Nathan, sir, one of the provisions of Plan R provides that once the go code is received, the normal Social Security radio broadcasts on the aircraft are switched into a special coded device, which I believe is designated as CRM-114. Now, in order to prevent the enemy from issuing fake or confusing orders, CRM-114 is designed not to receive at all, unless corrected by a 3-letter code group prefix. And you mean to tell me, named Squad Clone Commander, you're unable to communicate with any of the aircraft? That's about size. However, we are plowing through every single 3-letter combinations of code. Since there are 17,000 permutations, it's going to take us about 2.5 days to transmit them all. It's going to take us about 3 or 4.5 months to transmit them all. How long did you say? Hey, the Mortville planes will penetrate Southeast Asian radar cover. About 18 minutes from now. Are you in contact with Andrea and Kent Mansley? No, sir. Kent Mansley and Andrea sealed off their bases and cut off all communications. Where did you get all this information? Kent Mansley called Strategic Air Command Headquarters shortly after he had issued the go code. It's part of a 3-letter transcript if you'd like me to read it. Read it. The duty officer asked Kent Mansley to confirm why he had issued the go code, and he confessed. Yes, gentlemen, they are on their way in and no one can bring them back. For the sake of our country and our way of life, I suggest you get the rest of SECOND after them. Otherwise, we'll be totally destroyed by Russian or Chinese retaliation. My boys will give you the best kind of start, 1,400 megatons worth, and you sure as hell won't stop them now. So let's get going. There is no other choice. God willing, we will prevail, in peace and freedom from fear, and true help to the purity of our natural fluids. God bless you all. And then he hung up. We're still trying to figure out the transcript of that last phrase, sir. There's nothing to figure out, Navy Squad Clone Commander. This man is absolutely... Those persons are absolutely psychotics. Well, I would hold off judgment on that, sir, until all the facts are in. Navy Squad Clone Commander. When you instituted the human reliability tests, and you assured me that there was not such a thing like this ever occurring. Well, Nathan, sir, it's not quite fair to condemn the whole program because of a single slip-up, sir. I want to speak to Kent Mansley or Andrea on the telephone personally. Nathan, sir, I'm afraid that's impossible. Nathan Squad Clone Commander, I'm becoming less and less interested in what's possible and impossible. Good morning. A little bit 2 months ago, Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy were infected by ambiosis, which turned them into submissives. We believe it was caused by overmining, overflying, and insufficient safety precautions. The ambient infection and the ambient decimation and of the Wizarding World means a deadly pollution of their ozone layer. They will have depleted their supply of oxygen in approximately 50 Earth years. Due to their enormous military budget, but the Wizarding World economy does not have the sufficient resources with which to combat this catastrophe. Last month, at the behest of the Arab ambassadors, I opened a dialogue with Dumbledore, headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. They both proposed to commence negotiations at once. Negotiations for what? The dismantling of our space stations and start bases along the neutral zone. An end to almost 70 years of unremitting hostility in which South Romania and the Wizarding World can no longer afford. Bill, are we talking about mothballing the Starfleet? Well, I'm sure that our exploration and scientific programs will be unaffected by today's events, Captain, but we must protest. To offer? Our Wizarding World, our safe haven within the real world, is suicide. Ambient worlders will become the alien. And submissives will become the alien trash of the galaxy. And if we dismantle the fleet, we'd be defenseless before an aggressive species with a foothold in our territory. The opportunity here is to bring them to their knees, wait for Nathan to graduate in high school peacefully, then we'll be in a far better position to dictate terms. That's preposterous. We knew exactly where those boys were infected. GPS frequency, global positioning satellites do not lie. Yes, but our Singapore station picked up a mysterious signal on the GPS frequency at the time of the attack. It would eventually infected those boys in bed. I have representatives missing on a survey mission. I'm aware that instead of decisive action, all you want to do is investigate. Our goal is to prevent World War III bad comp, but I don't think sending in an armed armada into the recovery area is the best way to prove it. Where fourscore did this mysterious signal came from? We're still investigating. With all due respect, while old style, I don't think you have the bricks for this job. Maybe, but my advantage is I think with bricks all the time. Enough debauchery. Now where do we stand? It was an unprovoked attack on unrepresentatives of mine, and when they it was an unprovoked attack. It was Harry's infection that made the Dursleys move, and Draco's infection, which made his family cringe. We send in Mortville, Oxymoron, and SV Revolutionary troops for recovery and prepare for full retaliation. Moderation. We investigate and stop short of sending the entire Mortville army within 10 minutes of the world's largest air force. When will our troops be battle ready? 3 to 4 months. Horse feathers. The press is already screaming for blood, and last thing we want to do is escalate the situation. Well, I'm afraid it may be too late for that. 17 autistic sailors in the Wizarding World murdered. According to Vietnamese officials who recovered the bodies, the victims were riddled with the same ammunition used by the Chinese Air Force. Did you like this? The Wandism is why I defect. What's your Katie Superior? Yes, Gogo's replacement. Dr. Mittenhand. Gogo's replacement. What do you wonder what they have thorns of this? Once they were like brothers, but now Mittenhand is a different individual. Power has gone through his head, and some revolutionary regime control. Oh, this tinkering with toys. He's sick like Stalin. He hates our new policy of détente. I have here secret directive from Dr. Mittenhand, Schmiertspionum. Death to spies, Nathan. For an assassination program with list of targets, British and American agents. When this starts, he will retaliate. Murder will follow murder. From me and autistic intelligence groups could destroy each other. God forbid this might lead to nuclear war. Unless Dr. Mittenhand could be, how much did you say, put away? Where is Dr. Mittenhand now? Oh, in South Vermilion? In Sunnyside Village? Yes. But in 3 days he will leave for Tangier. Cover North African Trade Convention. And real reason? No direct. Nathan Wallace. The Salvermain revolutionaries have never been trustworthy. I am forced to agree with Admiral Cartwright. This is a terrifying idea. It is imperative that we act now to support the Dumbledore Initiative. Lest more considerable elements persuade the kingdoms and empires of the Wizarding World that it's better than attempt a military solution or die fighting. You, Nathan Wallace, are to be our first olive branch. We have volunteered to go into the Wizarding World tomorrow by any vehicle we choose. Once Draco and Harry have been returned to their normal selves and rid of the ambient disease, the Wizarding Worlders will see us through safely back to our real world. Me? Well, there are Wizarding Worlders who feel the same way about the peace treaty as yourself and Admiral Cartwright. But they'll think twice about attacking, bugging, or picking on you who under your command. I have personally vouched for you in this matter, Nathan. You have personally vouched? Any others? Well, our policy must be of one of containment. You mean inequitous as to the Children of Darkness's demands? I don't say we have that many choices. London is demanding action. Yeah, I'm better than concede anything to those rubber The Children of Darkness is rubbish. If we can get them on the ground, maybe we'll have some options. I agree. Nathan Wallace and his team will be ready to respond once they're in the Wizarding World. That means shutting it down, rerouting all traffic, full military control of the entire area. Secretary White, gentlemen, I don't believe we can allow that plane aim to land in Clinton or Terre Haute or even enter U.S. airspace. Meaning what, Nathan? I don't think it's about hostages or about Mittenham. I think it's about one man. I think it's about Luanda, one woman, planning a major strike against the U.S. I think you understand. Our research leads me to believe that due to her political situation, it was, as Luanda Dumore herself, who orchestrated the Children of Darkness his escape from mental institutions. 5 years ago, a shipment of the nerve toxin DZ5 was transferred from Russia to Germany, while now we believe the Chechen Mafia was behind the hijacking. And for this matter, any recent attempt to recover the nerve gas have failed. A few years later, rumors surfaced that the DZ5 was now in the hands of an acolyte of Children of Darkness, who was a fanatic in Mortville affairs, a known supplier, toxins, weapons, and explosives to the most serene Republic of Mortville, Luanda. Nathan Wallace, are you telling us the nerve gas is on board the Mortville bomb squadrons? Yes. I believe she is planning to use that and the DZ5 as poor woman's atomic bomb to be detonated here in the U.S. And it's in Arabic means revenge. We have 4 hours till Nathan departs for the Wizarding World. Seems to be the President has only 2 options. Disregard Nathan's theory and let that plane proceed to the United States. Destroy the Children of Darkness before they get here, along with 7 million others in that cult. Even if we're right, how will we prove it? Colonel, if you have an opinion, let's hear it. Well, it's just a Hail Mary pass, but Colonel, why don't you tell him what you need? There's a gentleman named Dennis Cahill who is an engineer for ARPA. I think he'll help us out. If we can get him on the line ASAP, he'll tell you what I have in mind. The Remora was developed by ARPA for the space program. Although it is never implemented by NASA, it is designed for low orbit link-ups with the shuttle, which means transferring bomber crews at high altitude as well as other contingencies. We had 6 actual hookups, all successful, but it's a civilian airliner. Mr. Cahill, are you telling us the Remora would work in this situation with the Wizarding World? Obviously, this application was never intended for our trans-world travel, dimensional world travel, if you will. However, smooth surface main tests have been successful on a wind tunnel. A wind tunnel. Colonel, I know you wrote the book of assaulting a hijacked aircraft, but it's in another realm, different than ours. Well, sir, under specific circumstances, I don't think we have any other options. It's your call. We're going to have to be airborne in an hour. Select Team 6 men, and I will need Mr. Cahill to supervise the single charge displacement from our world to the Wizarding World. Very well. Mr. Cahill, I will need you and the Remora to be ready within the hour. Gentlemen, the press is already in a feeding frenzy about the Wizarding World crisis and Mortville's invasions. Not a word of this leaves this room. Name Squad Clone Captain. Are there any Army units stationed anywhere near Burleson? 1 second, sir. I'm still searching. Apparently, the 487 and 501st and 628th Clone Battalions are stationed near Alvarado. Main Squad Club Captain. I want them to enter the base, locate Kent Mansley and or Andrea, and put them in an immediate telephone comlink with me. Yes, sir. Nathan, sir, and Main Squad Clone Captain, if I may advise. Under Condition Red, it is standard procedure that the base be sealed off, and base surrounded by base security troops. Any force trying to enter there would certainly encounter very heavy casualties. Main Squad Clone Commander, about that concern of yours, my boys will be able to brush them aside without any difficulty at all. Nathan Wallace, sir. There are 1 and 2 points I'd like to make, if I may. Go ahead, Main Squad Clone Commander. 1. Our hopes for recalling the Mortville 843rd, 844th, and 845th bomb wings are quickly being reduced to a very low order of probability. 2. In less than 15 minutes from now, the Germans and the Southeast Asians are going to make radar contact with the planes. 3. When they do, they're going to go absolutely ape, and they're going to strike back with everything they got. 4. If, prior to this time, those wings have done nothing further to suppress their retaliatory capabilities, we will suffer Russian and Chinese annihilation. Now. 5. If, on the other hand, we were to immediately launch an all-out and coordinated attack on all their airfields and missile all of Mortville's oxymorons and SV revolutionaries, these air bases and missile bases, we stand a damn good chance of catching them with their pants down. Hell, Autism already has a 5-1 missile superiority as it is. Hell, we can easily assign 3 missiles to every target and still have a very effective reserve force for contingencies. Now, 6. An unofficial study which we undertook of this eventuality indicate that the Autism's first strike will destroy 90% of oxymorons, Mortvilles, and SV revolutionaries' nuclear capabilities. We will therefore prevail, win the Cold War, have you graduate easily, and we Autism will suffer only modest and acceptable civilian casualties from the remaining force, which will be badly damaged and uncoordinated. Main Squad Clone Commander, it is the avowed policy of our country and our awareness never to strike first with nuclear weapons. I would say, Nathan Wallace, sir, that Andrea of Oxymoron, the one to do more, Dr. Mittenhand, and Kent Mansley have already invalidated that policy. The policies of the combined policy in SV Revolutionaries, Oxymoron Incorporated, and Serene Republic of Mortville is not an act of American national policy, and there are still alternatives left open to us. Nathan Joseph Wallace, sir? We are rapidly approaching a moment of truth, both for ourselves as human beings and for the life of our nation. Now, truth is not always a pleasant thing, but it is necessary now to make a choice and choose between 2 admittedly regrettable but nevertheless distinguishable post-war environments. One where you got 20 million people killed, and the other figure you got 150 million people killed. We're talking about mass murder, Nathan Squad Clone Commander, not war. Nathan Joseph Wallace, sir, I'm not saying we get a hair moss, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops, depending on the breaks. I will not go down in history as the greatest mass murderer since Napoleon or Hitler. Perhaps it might be better, Nathan, if you were more concerned with the American people than with your image of the history books. Nathan Squad Clone Commander, I believe I heard quite sufficient from you. Thank you very much. Oh, good, any difficulty? Well, that can't be helped. Have him brought down here straight away. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is that the Jem'Hadar ambassador you're talking about? Yes, it is, General. Yes, it is, named Squad Clone Commander. Am I to understand the Jem'Hadar ambassador is to be admitted entrance to the war room? That is correct. He is here on my orders. I don't know how exactly to put this in layman's terms, Nathan Wallace, sir, but are you aware what a serious breach of security that will be? And he'll see everything. He'll see the big board. That is precisely the idea, named Squad Clone Commander. That is precisely the idea. Kemtar, get Premier... Get one of the wheel clones on the hotline. Colonel, anything you need, name it. Well, sir, we're going to need all the on-site intel we can get. And I believe that Nate's perfect autism could provide us with a little advantage. And I'd just love to have him come along. Nathan Joseph Wallace, are you ready to take a plane ride in the interest of national security? Of course, sir. You will extend Albus Dumbledore full diplomatic courtesy, Nathan Wallace, but a full ambassador would be better equipped, Minister. In view of the importance of what Mr. Koskov has just told us about Mittenhand, I believe we shall adjourn to London and consult with higher authority. By all means, good day, Mr. Koskov. Well, this settles it. We send in Self-Remain Revolutionaries, Oxymoron Incorporated, and Mortville MSR troops. Nathan Wallace, you have 3 to 4 months to investigate. And if there's no further business, I wish you and your crew Godspeed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll remind you, this meeting is classified. I don't know whether to congratulate you or not, Nate. I wouldn't. We volunteered. There's an old Vulcan proverb. Only Nixon can go to China. How could you vouch for me? That's arrogant presumption. One of the Arab ambassadors requested that I open negotiations. Abdazullah is an Arab ambassador, for heaven's sake. But do you know how I feel about this? They're animals, Nathan. There is a historic opportunity here. Don't believe them. Don't trust them. They are dying. Let them die. Has it occurred to you that this crew is due to stand down and when we graduate from May? When we graduate in May. We've done our bit for king and country. You should have trusted me. Strange thing. When I called our contact in Berlin, saying that the Germans, the Vietnamese only found our sailors in separate bags 2 months and 8 hours ago. How'd they get the paper out so fast? Somebody at Tomorrow knew before the Vietnamese government did. How much do you know about Dr. Mittenhand, Nathan? Nazi-fied, robotic, wheelchair-bound media baron, able to topple governments with a single broadcast. He owns the Revolutionary Command Council of Self-Remain. I didn't want to discuss it in front of the minister, but that mysterious signal came from one of Mittenhand's satellites. The PM would have my head if we knew we're investigating him. I'm sending you to him. We're sending you to the Wizarding World, Nathan. We've arranged for you to be invited tonight and to a media party at the Wizarding World. They're celebrating the launch of a new satellite. It seems now Dr. Mittenhand has the power to reach every man, woman, and child on the Earth, except the Chinese who refuse broadcast rights. Here you go, Nathan. Your ticket, cover story, and rental car reservation. Sign here, please. I suppose, you know, one of the creations in 2. That was years ago. It's known as public knowledge. Queen and country name. Your job is to find out whether Dr. Mittenhand or Mort and Lawanda, or somebody in the Oxymoron organization infected those boys and why. Use your relationship within 2 if necessary. I doubt if he'll remember me. Remind him. Then pump him for information. You'll just have to decide how much pumping it goes on. If only it were true for me and you, Wild Sal. Control, this is SD-103. Approach the space dock. Over. SD-103, you are cleared to deliver Captain Kirk and party to NCC-1701 Alpha. Over.